Hello lovely simmers, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. For today's video we are doing another speed build using the new Cottage Living pack, and I'm still enjoying it just as much as I was from my first build. This house is a little bit bigger. This is actually a family home. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to call it yet. Probably something along the lines of like family stone cottage or family cottage, I don't know, something along those lines. But I wanted to try out some of the different textures that we got, so I used a lot of the different stone textures. And like I said, this house is bigger than my last one. This is a 3-bedroom 3-bathroom home, so it is a family home, and I add some kid stuff around as well, like I always do with family homes, just to make it look a little bit more homey. I don't have an exact storyline for this family. I definitely thought one of them did woodworking. I didn't give them that many garden plots because the house was super big for this lot. Like, I probably should have put this on a bigger lot. But I also figured, you know, not everyone in this town probably did a whole lot of gardening. So I figured that I would make these, like this family, a little less into gardening and a little bit more into like other things. You know, they make their own furniture, they make their own clothes, they make their own like jams and stuff, but maybe they just get all their stuff from the local market and they don't actually do any of the farming themselves. But as you can see, the shape of the home came together rather quickly. I did have a little bit of a reference picture for this one. I kind of like flipped it around and changed a couple of things, but there was a picture that I was staring at while I was building this. I was also building this super late at night. I had plans with some friends from work, and in the restaurant industry, you don't get off of work until like 11 o'clock at night, and I actually had off that day, so I was waiting for them to get off of work at 11 o'clock so we could go out. And I sat down at like 9 to build this, got a text message that said they weren't going to be out until closer to 11:30, so I was building from 9 to like 11:15ish so I could leave to go and meet with them and hang out with them after work. And so it was kind of late while I was building this. I was kind of tired. I have a really hectic schedule out here between work and school and trying to maintain some sort of a YouTube channel going on here. So I was a little tired and I was kind of like going off the reference picture, not going off the reference picture, moving around a lot. So I did cut quite a bit out of this video just because I was trying to keep the camera from moving around just too much. But right now we are adding some final touches to the home, so I skipped over, as you can see, a little bit because I added some columns for some extra decoration, and I added a couple of detail pieces that, because they're so small, I had to like zoom the camera in and stuff, and I was too tired to like make it smooth. So there was a lot of like cameras jutting around, so I did cut that out. And now we are working on some of the landscaping. There's a lot of forestry in this town that we got with this pack, which I love because it actually reminds me of home, and I'm feeling a little homesick right now. But so I'm really enjoying building in this world. This one in Brindleton Bay, because Brindleton Bay looks almost exactly like the town that I grew up in. So this world and Brindleton Bay are like my two favorites right now, so you'll see a lot of builds in these coming up on my channel. And so I wanted this landscaping to kind of match the exterior. I thought that this home had probably been here for a while. It was probably like passed down through different families. You can see there's like a really old stone fence, there's ivy growing up on the walls, and I figured that this house was just kind of built to withstand the test of time. The inside of it has not really been updated all that much either. I do plan on doing a build where it's kind of like there's some modern extensions involved, someone moved in and kind of changed some things around, but right now I want to focus on the aesthetic of the pack, which is very traditional, very classic, very cottage core, and something that I'm really into. But so the inside kind of matches the outside in that respect. And then I'm using the debug plants again because I love these plants. I'm going to be using them for forever, and I do kind of mix them up with a couple of plants from base game debug as well, just to kind of fill in the space, because like I said, there isn't a lot of like activities outside. So there isn't a pond, there isn't like a pool or like a lot of gardening plots or anything like that. There's a couple, but not a lot. So I had like some filler space that I had to put in that, like, on a normal farming or cottage lot I would have put like the animals or some more gardening plots or something like that. But since I had all this extra filler space, I put in some like low-lying plants. You can see me doing that here. I also add some grass. I thought maybe and it's the wild grass with the mushrooms in it that we got with this pack in the debug menu. So I thought maybe, they weren't taking care of their lawn, maybe they were super busy, or maybe they liked the overgrown look. And then surrounding the house, I do put these big leafy plants. I thought that they just looked really cool, and they kind of, matched the scenery a little bit better too. It was kind of like the home was being a little overgrown, and it also made the ivy that I have on the side of the house make a bit more sense if like everything else is growing wildly out of proportion. And then up here I am about to draw a path. The path will go from the front door all the way to the back patio, but also to the front of the lot, so there's kind of like a walking thing. I contemplated adding some of the debug trucks and stuff right at the front of the lot, but I decided to just go with the bicycle. I honestly thought I didn't get the bicycle at first because I didn't see it in any of my other builds, or any of my other like videos I was doing when I was looking for stuff in the debug menu. I didn't see the bike, and I know that the bike was something that you got if you bought the pack by a certain time, so I thought that I had missed it. But I think I just forgot to put a cheat on, because after when I found this bike, there was also a whole bunch of other debug items that I didn't see before when I was building the other house, so I think I might have just forgotten one of my cheats. But anyway, back here we are now working on the patio. So as you can see, I did put a couple of planters in. It's 3 planters, an outdoor table, and then I also added some bees. If you have bees in the game while you're gardening, they actually really help out your plants. They like pollinate them, and they make them become like super quality a lot faster. So I always like to put bees in houses where I have gardening plots. And then now we're on to the inside. So the inside's actually really cool. So we got this roof decoration with this pack that is like wooden beams, and I'm not 100% sure what they're supposed to do on the roof, because I'm not 100% sure what that would be for, but I decided to use them as exposed beams inside of the house. So something that I really like in the terms of like farmhouse style builds is when the homes have those exposed beams at the top. Like you go in and it's open, like the ceiling is super high, but then there's these exposed beams that bring in some of the natural wood from the exterior of the home, or like the hardwood floors or something, and they bring them throughout the entire house. And I've always wanted to do that in The Sims, but obviously we can't decorate like roofs in The Sims. That's not something we can do, or not roofs, but ceilings. Like you can't paint ceilings. They're always just this plain weird off-white color. But now that we have these beams, I was able to do kind of like a line, like I lined them up so that way they looked like those exposed beams. And I thought that it just looked so cool. I mean, you can't really see them in the screenshots, but you can see them as I'm building. And so you can kind of get the idea of what I was going for, especially since this is supposed to be an older cottage that has been around for a while. Maybe they found these beams, like they were initially hidden, but they found them and they decided to expose them when they, renovated, or when they were trying to fix up the house. Maybe they had to fix the beams, so they just left them exposed. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it looks really nice. They did get a little bit in the way while I was building, so you'll see I like move some of them out of my way while I'm trying to build and put them back in and stuff like that. But right now we're working on the living space. So the house isn't a complete open floor plan. The living space is sectioned off from the dining, and then the kitchen's in its own separate room. In old traditional homes, open floor plans weren't really that popular, so I figured that kind of made a little bit more sense for the style of home I was building. And then besides the living room area over here, I also built a desk area. I thought that maybe one of the parents could be a writer, or maybe they have like a family computer so that way the kids can do homework and stuff, or do like research projects, or maybe one of them runs a blog or something, or maybe one of them writes for the newspaper. I definitely feel like this town, Henford-on-Bagley, has like a super cool newspaper that like does all they announce all the fairs and all the different like shops that are going on and stuff like that, the different competitions. So I thought maybe one of them wrote for the newspaper, was like a journalist or something. And I'm just decorating that area very simply, a couple of different decorations. I use a lot of cats and dogs in this build. I think cats and dogs and cottage living go really well together. And then over here is the back door to the patio, so I'm just moving the beams over so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm placing a couple of things on the wall over here. Now, as you can see, I did place this shelf from cats and dogs. I forgot that I placed that shelf, so there aren't actually any dog bowls or cat bowls or anything for any pets in this build except for that leash thing. So I'm gonna go back in and add them before I upload this to the gallery, so that way it's not just like, oh, there's leashes, but there's no pets to be on the leashes, and because I just totally spaced on that. And then over here is the dining area. So the dining area is kind of right by the front door, which is a little awkward, but it was also the only place where I really had anything that could fit. And then I'm just decorating the table with this pitcher that we got, and then some salt and pepper shakers. I also want to apologize. So if you guys can hear noises in the background, I have my windows open. So my apartment is like directly facing the sun, and it's really nice in terms of like natural light. Like I get all this natural light. I almost never need to have any lights on in my apartment, and it's like a nice soft light. But in the middle of the day when the sun is beaming down, it is so hot in my apartment. But I really don't want to put on my air conditioning because that, like, I don't need it because I can just walk around, like, I don't know, it's not necessary, and I'm never really home, so I always leave my windows open so I don't have to use the air conditioning and I can get like a really nice breeze in my apartment. But that does lend to some noises coming in, so if you guys can hear like cars honking or stuff like that, I do live in a city, so there is a little bit of noise, and I do apologize. I hope it's not that bad. I'm looking into getting a different mic because the one that I have picks up noises everywhere. Like one time I had my phone on like the other side of my room, like in my old house, so it was like on the other side of the room that I was in, which was a pretty big room, and I heard it go off like very quietly because I never keep it on super loud, and then when I went to go listen back to my recording, you could hear it in my recording, and I was like, oh my god, why did this pick up on it? So my mic does pick up quite a few things. I promise you I'm trying to find a new one, so just bear with me until I can figure that out. But right now we are in the kitchen. So I used these blue cabinets because I thought that the blue matched the wallpaper that I used. And this wallpaper is from Parenthood, the Parenthood game pack. And then I'm also using a couple of items from the Country Kitchen kit just to kind of match the items that we got with Cottage Living and, you know, decorate some of the spaces a little bit more, make it look a little bit more used. I did think that this family used the kitchen a lot and they were cooking a lot. With one of the new updates, it might have even been with this pack, although I think it was a base game update, kids can now help cook. They can help cook and they can help garden. And they might even be able to help do the canning too that came with this pack, but I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I've done any gameplay, but with this, but they can now help with cooking, so I definitely figured that this family, you know, they all cooked together. I imagine them having one toddler and one kid, so I definitely thought the kid was probably really helping them out with their gardening and their cooking and stuff like that. And then in here is one of the bathrooms. This is the quote-unquote guest bathroom, so this is the one that like has access from the main hallway downstairs. It's right across from the kitchen, and then there's also an ensuite for the parents' bedroom, which you can see me copying and pasting stuff now for it. And then there's also a bedroom upstairs, which you will not see me decorate because it's pretty much the same exact stuff as the two down here, and that's just to be shared between the two kids. And then in here, as you can see, I'm just adding some finishing touches. I also wanted to mention that I forgot a toddler potty, even though there's a toddler room. I will add that in as well when I add in the pet stuff. I just totally spaced. I was way too tired. And then in here is the parents' bedroom. So I'm again using the bed from this new pack. I don't dislike this bed. I wish that the frame wasn't metal, or that we had gotten a bed with a different frame in it, like as well, like we'd gotten two beds, because I feel like the black metal frame just doesn't match a lot of the other things we got with this pack, so I'm having a hard time like placing it with other pieces of furniture. But it's still a really nice bed and I do really like it. I just think that the frame should have been a little different to go with this pack. But over here I'm using the new dresser. I really like this piece. I like how they have the attached mirror, because usually I would like build my own where I'd attach my own mirror or like make it look like the mirror was attached, so it's nice that they gave us one that it actually comes like that. And then this plant that we got with this pack is my new favorite plant. I absolutely love it. I have a plant just like that in my apartment, so it's like my favorite thing. I use it all the time now in like all of my builds. You guys will be able to tell. So I do apologize if that gets a little repetitive, but over here by the foot of the bed, I'm just adding a little ottoman. I figured they could sit there while they're getting ready or while they're talking about their day or whatever. And then upstairs is the toddler's room. So I finally got to use the play tent. I haven't used it yet since the Dream Home Decorator pack came out. It's just been way too big. I never wanted to use it, but for this build, I shrunk it down. I'm pretty sure it'll still work, especially because since this is a toddler's room, the toddlers in the game are not that big, so even though it's shrunk down, I'm pretty sure the toddlers will still fit inside of it. And then I also have a little reading area where I use the new mushroom seats from this pack because I thought that that was super cute and it matched the wallpaper that I chose. And then I also added that eco lifestyle wall decoration. That's like the wood panels that are decorated like chickens and stuff, because I thought maybe, you know, their neighbors had chickens or something, so the toddler was like super obsessed with animals and chickens, and maybe they, I don't know, maybe the family was contemplating getting chickens and, you know, starting a farm or something like that. And then in here is the kids' bedroom. So the kids' bedroom is kind of pink themed. I really liked this wallpaper that we had with the flowers on it, so I kind of went off of that. I'm using the Seasons bed with the drapes on it because we didn't get any kids' beds with this pack, which is a little frustrating, but then again, Dream Home Decorator came with like 8 of them, so we have gotten quite a few new beds this year. And then over here is just like a little school area. This is probably the most modern area of the house, just because I thought maybe the kid was, you know, trying to branch out, trying to learn new things, trying to figure themselves out a little bit. And then over here I add an activity table, but besides that, that is pretty much it for this build. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!